Ever wondered why there are two main groups in Islam? You've probably heard the names Sunni and Shia a million times, but do you actually know the real story behind them? This isn't just some boring history lesson about old names and dusty dates. This is a deeply personal, emotional story about family, loyalty, and standing up for what you believe is right, even when the whole world is against you. It's a drama that's been playing out for over 1,400 years, and it still affects the lives of millions of people today. Today, we're going to look at the life of the man who stands at the very center of all of this, Ali ibn Abi Talib. Let's head back to the very beginning and see how this all started. Right now, there are about 1.5 billion Muslims in every corner of the planet. From the busy, colorful streets of Morocco to the beautiful islands of Indonesia, people are practicing the same faith. But as time moved on, different groups started to see certain historical events in their own way. The two biggest groups are the Sunnis and the Shias. Most Muslims today, about 85 to 90%, are Sunni. But to really get why there's such a big divide, we have to sit down and talk about the life of Ali. His story is tied to the very roots of what Muslims believe. It's a story about a bond that started in a small house in Mecca and ended up changing the world. Ali was born in the city of Mecca. He wasn't just anyone. He belonged to a very respected family called the Hashimi clan, which was a branch of the bigger, powerful Quraysh tribe. But more importantly, he was the cousin of the Prophet Muhammad. Their bond was incredibly tight, like unbreakable. In fact, Ali's father, Abu Talib, was the one who raised Muhammad after he became an orphan. So imagine these two growing up together. They weren't just cousins, they were more like brothers. They shared everything. Growing up in the same house with Muhammad meant that Ali saw everything from the front row. He saw the Prophet's honesty, his kindness, and his struggle. When Muhammad received the first message from God in the year 1010, Ali was just a young boy of 10 years old. Think about what you were doing at 10 years old, probably playing games or worrying about school. But Ali, he didn't hesitate for a second. He became the first male to accept the message and follow the Prophet. At just 10 years old, he made a choice that would echo through history forever. That kind of rock-solid faith stayed with him his entire life. As more people started following Islam, things got really dangerous really fast. The powerful leaders in Mecca were not fans of this new message. It challenged their power and their way of life. They made life a living nightmare for the early Muslims. Even though Ali was still just a kid, he was known for being incredibly brave. He stayed by Muhammad's side through every single struggle. There were so many times when people tried to hurt the Prophet, and Ali was always right there, acting like a human shield. He was the guy you wanted in your corner when things got real. By the year 622, the situation in Mecca had become too dangerous to stay. The Muslims decided to pack up and move to a city called Medina. This big move is known as the Hijra. It's a massive deal. It actually marks the start of the Islamic calendar. But Ali didn't leave with the first group. He stayed behind in Mecca for a very specific, very honorable reason. Even the people who hated Muhammad's message knew that he was the most honest man in the city. They had left their valuable belongings with him for safekeeping because they trusted him more than anyone else. Ali stayed back to make sure every single item, every coin, every piece of jewelry was returned to its rightful owner. This shows you exactly who Ali was: honest, responsible, and incredibly fair. Once he finished that job, he made the long, dangerous trip to Medina all by himself to reunite with the Prophet. In Medina, Ali became one of the closest and most trusted people in the entire community. A year later, in 623, Ali married the Prophet's daughter, Fatima Zahra. This wasn't just a wedding, it was the merging of the two people Muhammad loved most in the world. It brought the family even closer and created a family line that would become the heart of many future debates. Ali wasn't just a family man, though. He was a leader in every sense of the word. In the early days in Medina, the small Muslim community had to defend itself in many battles. Whether it was the Battle of Badr or the Battle of Uhud, Ali was always at the very front of the line. He was so legendary in combat that he was given the nickname Asadullah, which means the Lion of God. But don't get it twisted, he wasn't just a warrior. He was a deep thinker, a judge, and a scholar. People looked up to him because he understood the inner meanings of the Quran better than almost anyone. By the year 631, the Muslims had taken control of Mecca, and Islam was spreading like wildfire across the Arabian Peninsula. But as the Prophet grew older, a heavy question started to weigh on everyone's mind. Who would lead the people once the Prophet was gone? This is exactly where the story of the split begins. In 632, after his final pilgrimage, the Prophet gave a famous speech at a place called Ghadir Khoum. This is the moment that Sunnis and Shias see through completely different lenses. During this speech, the Prophet took Ali's hand, lifted it up, and said, "Whoever has me as my Mawla has Ali as his Mawla." Now that word Mawla is where things get complicated. In Arabic, it can mean many things. It can mean leader, master, or boss, but it also means a very close, beloved friend. Shia Muslims look at this and say it's a no-brainer. They believe the Prophet was clearly naming Ali as his successor. To them, Mawla means leader. They see Ali as the first imam, the leader chosen by God to guide the hearts of the people. Sunni Muslims, however, see it differently. They believe the Prophet was simply showing the world how much he loved Ali. They think he was telling the community to treat Ali as a dear friend and a close ally, but not necessarily naming him the next political ruler. This one word became the foundation for two different paths. There was another super tense moment just a few days before the Prophet passed away. It's often called the pen and paper incident. The Prophet was very ill and asked for writing material so he could leave a statement to keep the people from going astray. However, some of his companions, including Umar, felt the Prophet was too sick and shouldn't be burdened. They argued that the Quran was already enough for them. The argument got so heated that the Prophet eventually told everyone to leave. Shia Muslims believe that in that moment, the Prophet wanted to write down that Ali was the chosen leader. They feel that by stopping him, the course of history was changed forever. Sunni Muslims see it as a moment of genuine concern where people were just worried about their dying leader's comfort.
When the Prophet Muhammad finally passed away in 632, the community was absolutely crushed. While Ali and the family were busy with the heart-wrenching task of the funeral, a group of leaders met at a place called Saqifa to decide on a new leader. They felt they had to act fast to keep the community from falling apart. After a lot of intense debating, Abu Bakr, a very close and senior companion, was chosen as the first Caliph. Sunni Muslims believe this was the right, practical way to handle things. They feel Abu Bakr was the perfect choice because he was wise, experienced, and had always been the Prophet's right-hand man. They believe the community has the right to choose its own leader. But for Shia Muslims, this felt like a betrayal. They argue that Ali should have been the leader based on what happened at Ghadir Khoum. They also feel it was wrong to hold a political meeting while the Prophet's own family was still mourning and performing his burial. For months after this, the vibe was incredibly tense. Shia history tells of confrontations at Ali's house because he didn't immediately pledge his allegiance to Abu Bakr. They speak of a very tragic event called the Door Incident, where they believe Ali's wife, Fatima, was injured during a standoff. Sunni history usually describes these moments differently, focusing on Ali's eventual decision to support the new leadership for the sake of keeping the Muslims united. They see Ali as a man who put the community's safety above his own rights. Even though Ali didn't become the first leader, he didn't just disappear. For the next 2 decades, through the leadership of Abu Bakr, then Umar, and then Uthman, Ali stayed involved. He acted as a top advisor and helped the community with his deep knowledge of the law. Sunni Muslims say this proves Ali accepted them as rightful leaders. Shia Muslims, however, believe Ali only helped because he was a man of peace who didn't want to see the Muslim world collapse into a bloody civil war. Finally, in 656, after the third leader, Uthman, was assassinated, the people turned to Ali and begged him to lead. He finally became the Caliph. But his time at the top was anything but easy. The community was deeply fractured. Some groups wanted immediate revenge for Uthman's death, and this led to the first major civil war, known as the First Fitna. Ali had to lead his forces against other Muslims in famous, tragic battles like the Battle of the Camel and the Battle of Siffin. It was a heartbreaking time. In 661, while he was deep in prayer at a mosque, Ali was attacked and killed by a member of a radical group. His death marked the end of an era. After he passed, his eldest son Hassan briefly took the reins, but Hassan saw that more fighting would only lead to more death. To save the people, Hassan made a peace treaty with a man named Muawiyah, agreeing to step down as long as Muawiyah didn't turn the leadership into a family kingship. He just wanted the bleeding to stop. But peace was life short. Muawiyah eventually broke that promise and named his son Yazid to be the next ruler. This turned the caliphate into a monarchy. Ali's younger son, Hussein, couldn't stand for this. He felt the spirit of Islam was being traded for power and greed. In the year 680, Hussein and a tiny group of his family, including women and children, were surrounded by Yazid's massive army at Karbala. Even though they knew they wouldn't survive, Hussein refused to give in. The Battle of Karbala ended in a tragedy that still makes people weep today. Hussein and almost all the men with him were killed. For Shia Muslims, this is the most defining moment in history. It represents the ultimate stand of truth against power. Every year, Shias remember this during the month of Muharram, especially on the day of Ashura. For them, Hussein is the ultimate hero who gave everything to keep the message of his grandfather alive. Sunni Muslims also deeply mourn what happened at Karbala. They love Hussein and agree that Yazid's actions were a stain on history. They honor Hussein as a martyr and a hero of the faith. While Sunnis and Shias might disagree on the politics of 1400 years ago, it's beautiful to remember what they share. Both groups believe in one God, follow the same prophet, and cherish the same Quran. They pray the same way, fast together, and give to the same charities. At the end of the day, the history of the split is really a story about how much people loved the Prophet and his family. If you really want to dive into the life of Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, you have to see him as he was, a lion in battle, a genius in the courtroom, and a humble man at home. Understanding Sunni versus Shia, the history of the split, helps us realize that beneath the differences, the heartbeat of the faith is the same. If this story touched your heart or helped you understand the world a little better, do us a huge favor. Hit that like button, share this with a friend who loves history, and subscribe to our channel. It helps us keep these incredible stories coming your way. Thanks for hanging out with us at True Sira, and we'll catch you in the next one.